There are two reactions that need to be automatic. One, if you pass the ball one spot away, then you must basket cut. That is, you must touch the spot underneath the basket. Two, if the spot above you in the direction of the ball is empty, then you must fill it. If this happens, the cutter will always have an empty spot to fill out to. With the 4-out formation, 6 spots are created on the perimeter. Sometimes this works out to be a temporary overload on one side, but it can always be worked out. I've instructed the post player to simply stand in the mid post, high post, or short corner in order to illustrate that what you do with your post player has nothing to do with the habits and actions that are taught in this layer. Three-point line is our read line for an automatic basket cut, or backdoor, rear cut, whatever you want to call it. If you are one spot or one pass away from the ball, and your defender has even 1 foot over the read line, you must basket cut. There's no signal, you just cut. This serves several purposes. The first one is, we must have a counter for defensive pressure on the perimeter. When the defense is over the read line, the odds are stacked in favor of the offense. Consider that this is a foot race to the rim from the three-point line and that both players are equal in speed and quickness. The offense is facing the goal and the defense has its back to the goal. Who's going to win? All things being equal, the offense will win every time. The second purpose of this automatic backdoor is if you don't cut and you allow the defense to deny you the ball, you effectively shut down the offense on your side of the floor. You've cut the ball handler's options in half. But consider what happens when you do cut. Even if you don't get the ball, you vacate a spot on the floor that another teammate's going to fill. There's a much better chance that a teammate moving toward the ball and shortening the distance is going to be open than someone who is standing still. And here's the third benefit. If the defense decides to deny this teammate who is filling the empty spot, we have a situation that's much tougher on the defense. If the ball handler drives right, then everyone's circle moves to the next spot on their right. If the ball is driven left, then everyone's circle moves to their left. The small circle around the ball defender turns the large circle on the perimeter. Each player on the perimeter only needs to be concerned with reading the ball. They don't need to worry about the big picture or the movement of their teammates. 4 separate 2-player reads and reactions. With no decisions to be made, those without the ball can move quickly and decisively. Defense reacts to dribble penetration by helping, rotating, and recovering. Here's an example of standard help and rotation. In other words, if the penetrator drives left, then help and rotation moves in a right circular motion. Circle movement is going to send all players without the ball in the opposite direction that defense is trained to help and rotate. The design of the system is meant to provide the following for the penetrator at all times and in all formations. First and foremost, I want to provide space to get to the rim. I want those without the ball to move in such a way that if their defenders go with them, it will provide space for the penetrator to get to the goal. If defensive help comes from the most natural defensive position, then I want a teammate moving into a natural pitch window so that our penetrator has an easy and predictable pass that can be made without a turnover. Natural defensive help usually comes from one spot away in the direction of the drive. At least one teammate without the ball will be moving into a position such that if they receive a pass from the penetrator, it will result in a layup. So, we have the penetrator threatening the goal and at least one other teammate threatening the goal. The defensive team to be required to defend both the perimeter and the goal at the same time on every drive. By the way, this layup threat is provided by the post player slides when we go 4 out. If the defense stops the drive and rotates to cover all natural passes in front of the penetrator, dribble penetration draws defenders to the ball and leaves a hole on the perimeter from where the penetration began. In other words, if the penetrator is stopped from getting to the rim and all passing windows in his or her field of vision is covered, the safety valve behind them will bail them out of trouble. There's no need to risk a turnover by trying to beat 2 or 3 defenders or force a risky pass. Just stick the landing, reverse pivot, and pass back to the position from which you came. The ball handler knows where each teammate is heading. The ball handler does not look for teammates. The ball handler reads where the defensive help is coming from. The moment that defender commits, the moment that defender bites the bait, the pass has already left the hands of the ball handler and is on its way to the appropriate spot. Now you're prepared for helping defensive schemes of all kinds. If your opponent wants to help with a defender 2 passes away, fine, bring it on. What happens if the penetrator changes direction? Then circle movement changes direction. But this is an automatic reaction if this layer is a true habit. Players will penetrate, pass, and then ask the following question. Where do I go after I penetrate and pass? We're back into the first layer of pass and cut. What do you do after you pass? You must finish your basket cut and fill out to an open spot. Circle movement habit sends the opposite corner up to the wing, leaving the penetrator with no natural pitch. Any player on the weak side, regardless of where they're located, to fill the opposite corner when a baseline drive occurs. When I drive baseline, the first thing I want is for my teammates to get out of the way and give me room to get to the rack. I don't want my teammates bringing their defenders to me. The second thing I want is my teammates' positions stretching the defense to cover the entire floor. The third thing I want is 3 teammates in front of me that I can see and a safety valve behind me, just like any other drive from any other position. When I make this drive, okay, by the time I've cleared my man, I need 3 people in front of me, windows that I can check, okay? You're the first. You've got the highest priority. You're the easiest straight ahead, okay? Did your man help? If he did, I'm pitching to you. It's that simple, okay? But in order of checking for me, it's natural pitch, 45, 90. I don't need to look for you guys. I know where you are. I'm simply reading, are the windows covered? If the window isn't covered, that's who I'm pitching to.